It began not with the sound of war, but with a whisper carried on winds across the dimensional void, a whisper that touched the edges of realms both mortal and divine. It slithered through Mount Olympus, causing the very clouds to tremble beneath its weight. It crawled across the endless wastes of the crimson cosmos, brushing against the throne of Cyttorak like an uninvited spectre. That whisper told of a reckoning, one that would pit the god of strength against the avatar of irresistible force. Hercules, son of Zeus, the prince of power, sat beneath the marble canopy of the Olympian council chambers, bored by the quiet peace that had lingered too long over earth. His deeds of valor had become stories retold in taverns, not events shaping the heavens. Yet his heart, proud and wild, yearned for a test, not of mere strength, but of identity. Who was he? Truly, in an age of monsters, machines, and cosmic gods, was he still the greatest embodiment of physical might the universe had ever known, or had time buried his name beneath new legends? Meanwhile, in a dimension beyond human comprehension, Cain Marco knelt before the pulsing throne of Cyttorak. He had long abandoned his human frailties, once jealous of Charles Xavier, once petty, brutal, and hungry for validation. Cain had shed those skins. The crimson gem had become his heart, the will of Cyttorak, his philosophy. He no longer saw battles as contests of ego, but as affirmations of principle. Irresistibility was not just motion, it was the gospel of his existence. That force, once set upon a path, must fulfill its course. That inevitability was the only law greater than all gods. And so, it was not hatred that summoned Juggernaut from his realm to the gates of Olympus. It was inquiry, a singular question that pulsed in both beings' souls. What is true strength? Hercules stood atop the cliffs of the mortal realm, watching storms gather over the horizon. A portal tore through reality, and out of it stepped the crimson-armored Colossus. No introductions, no warnings. Their eyes met, and in that silent moment, philosophy waged its first war. "You walk as if the earth should bend before you," Hercules said, his voice thunder echoing in his chest. "I don't walk," Juggernaut replied, calm and direct. "I move, and when I move, nothing stops me." "And if a mountain stands in your path," Hercules asked, "then the mountain falls." Hercules smirked. "Even mountains are gods in some myths. Do you claim to unmake gods with brute will?" Juggernaut's eyes pulsed with silent certainty. "I don't claim, I am." The debate ignited. Hercules, ever the champion of willful defiance, argued that true strength lies in the power to change course, to confront fate, and through courage bend destiny itself. He quoted his own 12 labors, not as burdens, but as metaphors of defiance. "Each trial I faced," he declared, "was an immovable object. Yet I endured, not as a force, but as a soul with choice. I rose above fate." Juggernaut did not flinch. "And yet you faltered," he said. "You were broken by pride, swayed by wine, chained by your need for glory. I have no such weakness. I am purpose incarnate. I do not choose. I am chosen by Cyttorak's will. There is no battle, only outcome. And what are you without that will?" Hercules challenged. Juggernaut answered, "Everything, because purpose given by a higher force does not lessen power, it refines it. Your power is wild, mine is inevitable. You may be strength incarnate, Hercules, but I am the truth that strength cannot escape, the consequence of resistance." Thunder rumbled above as if the skies themselves gasped. The philosophical contrast was unmistakable. Hercules was the manifestation of conscious divine power, a symbol of earned might, challenged and reshaped by hardship. Juggernaut was the incarnation of unrelenting momentum, a symbol of metaphysical consequence, of pure force unhindered by the frailty of mind. And the universe, hungry for truth, demanded proof. Without another word, they stepped into a circular arena, forged at the nexus of Olympus and the crimson cosmos. There would be no audience, no Olympian deities, nor demon lords, only raw, unfiltered collision. For though they spoke in ideas, only battle could finalize philosophy. Hercules lunged first, not out of rage, but anticipation. The ground beneath his leap cracked like glass as he drove his golden mace toward Juggernaut's chest. It was a strike that once shattered a titan's spine. The impact sounded like the shattering of stars, but Juggernaut didn't move. He absorbed the blow like the earth endures a meteor. With indifference, Juggernaut retaliated not with finesse, but certainty. His fist swung forward, encased in the eternal crimson energies of Cyttorak. Hercules deflected the blow with his forearm, but the shockwave hurled him across the arena. He landed, not wounded, but intrigued. "You do not flinch," Hercules said, rising with a grin. "Then I shall make you stagger." He dashed forward again, divine speed eclipsing sound. He struck with a whirlwind of blows, fist, knee, elbow, mace, each strong enough to destroy cities. The arena quaked. Planets nearby trembled, yet Juggernaut remained, a wall of intent, absorbing all like a stormless void. When he moved, it was not to attack, it was to correct. One step forward, the ground collapsed. 2 steps, reality warped. 3. Hercules planted his feet, raised his mace high, and called upon his divine blood. The very fabric of Olympus resonated, imbuing his weapon with sacred fire. He roared and struck Juggernaut's helmet, an echo of divine wrath forged over millennia. The helmet dented. Juggernaut paused, but not from pain, from contemplation. "You think denting my shell proves your truth?" he asked. "No," Hercules breathed, "but it proves you're not invincible." Juggernaut nodded slowly. "I don't need to be invincible, I only need to keep going." Then came Juggernaut's true assault, not a punch but a charge. He hurled himself forward, and the very idea of stopping ceased to exist. The force of Cyttorak propelled him as a living missile. Hercules met him head-on. The collision warped space-time. Gods across dimensions turned their heads. The arena shattered. Waves of destruction radiated into multiple realities. When the dust cleared, Hercules stood, bloodied, teeth clenched, his body strained but unbroken. Juggernaut was buried under tons of debris. For a moment it seemed the god had won, but the silence betrayed something deeper. The rubble trembled and exploded. Juggernaut rose, unfazed, unchanged, and still walking. Hercules stepped back. His breath now came heavy. His hands trembled, not from fear, but realization. Every blow he landed had the strength of his father Zeus behind it. Every motion was the culmination of thousands of years of battle, and still, Juggernaut endured. No matter the power, Juggernaut said, if it fails to end purpose, it fails. Hercules gathered all that was left. He called down lightning. He roared the name of Olympus. He struck Juggernaut again and again, driving him to the edge of the dimensional rift. Time itself buckled, and then Juggernaut advanced again. One final step, and Hercules, in defiance, braced once more, until the force of inevitability overwhelmed divinity. The impact hurled Hercules into the void. He was not unconscious, he was not broken, but he was moved, and that was the truth, because Juggernaut is not a being you defeat, he is a being you survive. As Hercules floated through the collapsing space between realms, he smiled, not out of shame, but respect. Perhaps, he whispered, true strength is not to resist, but to remain. Juggernaut stood victorious, not because he was stronger, but because he could never be stopped. And in the realm of consequences, where every force meets its equal, inevitability trumps even the gods.